It's a continuation of the AA Daily Reflections reading from September 30th, 2025, Part 2. You heard a sharp noise, something like that. I was setting this very heavy rock back down on the table, and it shut off the camera. I was explaining the 11th step and why, because the 11th step, 12th step, and the first and 12th tradition kind of go along with this thing. I'll do the reading in a minute too. This circle and triangle with the circle of love, 3 equal sides of spirituality, which is also recovery. And I might explain that, or that would be in the first video. And then service and unity. And I was trying to explain, let me just read this. I'm sorry for just the confusion here. AA Daily Reflections reading for September 30th, 2025. The circle and the triangle. The circle stands for the whole world of AA, and the triangle stands for AA's 3 legacies of recovery, unity, and service. And here, I'll just go right through this. 3 legacies of recovery, unity, and service. Like you saw those on the picture here. Within our wonderful new world, we have found freedom from our fatal obsession. That's from AA Comes of Age, page 139. Early in my AA life, I became employed in its services, and I found the explanation of our society's logo to be very appropriate. First, a circle of love and service with a well-balanced triangle inside, the base of which represents our recovery through the 12 steps. Then the other 2 sides representing unity and service respectively. The 3 sides of the triangle are equal. As I grew in AA, I soon identified myself with this symbol. I am the circle, and the sides of the triangle represent 3 aspects of my personality: physical, emotional sanity, and spirituality, the latter forming the symbol's base. Taken together, all 3 aspects of my personality translate into a sober and happy life. So if you're looking for sober and happy, look at this circle of love and what that encompasses. Maybe you could say, or one could say, or I might say, or I will say, the circle of love is encompassing unity, service, and spirituality. The spirituality can be found in 12 traditions. The 12th tradition of Alcoholics Anonymous is anonymity. Anonymity is our spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place personalities before personalities. I think I said that wrong. Principles before personalities. The 11th step and the 12th step and the 2nd step. The 2nd step came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity, this emotional sanity that today's writer mentioned in the September 30th AA Daily Reflection. And the 11th and the 12th step, this is where the camera shut off earlier, in part 1. The 11th step of Alcoholics Anonymous sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. What are we doing in step 11, we're seeking, we're looking for something. We're missing, we feel as though we're missing something. We start searching for it. How do we search? With a flashlight, with a magnifying glass, a microscope, a radio telescope, seeing eye dog, I don't know. It tells us that we sought through employing these two methods of prayer and meditation. How do you pray? I don't know right now. I can't tell you that. How do you meditate? I don't know right now. I can't explain that either. I mean, right now. A simple way I started looking at this early on was that the prayer and meditation was talking to and listening back for a reply. So and then the 12th step, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And the principles, straight down the list of Alcoholics Anonymous, are written down here by my hand in the back of one of my books of 24 Hours a Day, where it says notes. You're not going to have this in your book unless you copy this. And I got these principles off the face of a clock in a club, and I did look it up somewhere, and I'm sorry I can't give you the reference of where this occurs. But the 12 principles of Alcoholics Anonymous would be like the underlying basement foundation under the foundation of the 12 traditions, which are supporting the 12 steps, I think. That's all my explanation, which not very clear maybe. We've got 1 through 12, the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. Honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, willingness, humility, brotherly love, justice, forgiveness, spirituality, and service. And so number 8 is brotherly love. That's like that love circle thing going around, encompassing unity and service, and which is 12, service, 12 principles, service, and 11, spirituality. Unity is in that first tradition, which the principle of the first tradition is honesty. Is that what it says here? Honesty. The first tradition of Alcoholics Anonymous, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. I got to get this diagram, and it fell in an inaccessible area. Hitherto. That's a hitherto inaccessible area, because here it is. I've retrieved it. Oh, good. We're only at 8 minutes here on part 2. You got this circle of love that encompasses unity, service, and spirituality. The 3 legacies of Alcoholics Anonymous. From this book, the Daily Reflections book, September 30th, this writer had said, the circle stands for the whole world of AA, and the triangle stands for AA's, Alcoholics Anonymous's, Alcoholic Anonymous's 3 legacies of recovery, unity, and service. I don't see the word spirituality in there. That's why I just said all that stuff I did about the principles, and then more directly probably the traditions, which I believe are based upon those principles. It's like principles, a rough idea. Slightly more focused in, more resolute idea is the tradition, which is kind of encompassing a larger area than the step, which is a very direct commandment, directive, suggestion. That's what the big book. which this is a slightly smaller version of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, does say is that, and also this book, the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous. This book is a very good book. If you're looking for answers to all this stuff I'm bringing up, which is very likely where I get a lot of my ideas from. Anyhow, in case you've been watching these videos for a while, you know I have a tendency to just go chasing the shiny bunny. And I don't know if I've described the shiny bunny syndrome yet, but it will become clear eventually. Within our wonderful new world, we have found freedom from our fatal obsession. Early in AA life, I became employed in its services, and I found the explanation of our society's logo to be very appropriate. First, a circle of love and service with a well-balanced triangle inside, the base of which represents our recovery through the 12 steps. Then the other two sides representing unity and service respectively. The three sides of the triangle are equal. As I grew in AA, I soon identified myself with this symbol. I am the circle, and the sides of the triangle represent three aspects of my personality: physical, emotional sanity, spirituality, the latter forming the symbol's base. That's a big clue as to why I wrote spirituality as the base of the triangle. Is that an equilateral triangle because all three sides are the same? The latter, spirituality, forming the symbol's base, which if you're the way most humans think of gravity is an attractive force, also repulsive. But if you're on the planet Earth, we feel a pressing down upon us on everything. That's kind of not it, pulling down. If you're holding this and you let go of your grip, gravity's going to pull that down. So the base that it is holding down everything else is spirituality. And it's said in the 11th tradition, anonymity is the spiritual foundation upon all our traditions, I think. And then the 11th step is sought through prayer and meditation, the knowledge of God's will and the power to carry that out, and improving the conscious contact with this higher power entity thing. And then taken together, all three aspects of my personality, which this guy says is physical, like I'm feeling sluggish, I'm drinking caffeinated coffee today, it's helping. Y'all might argue with that because I'll get flippant and out of control excited from caffeine. But that's the physical part of my body. The emotional sanity. Remember, step 2 came to believe in a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Part of that sanity that's been lost in the alcoholism is the emotional part of the human is somehow shut off, smothered, damped, dulled out, and out of whack. And anyhow, and then we got the third part of our personality, the spirituality part. The latter forming the symbol's base. So this is wonderful. The battery's going to die. Now, next will be the next challenge. Unity, service, spirituality, encompassed in love. The three legacies. I refer you back to part 1 because I said all the intro stuff there, but if you're bored and within an AA setting, say at a meeting, seek through prayer and meditation. Take a look around at the people in the room and then run that through your spiritual sense and see what you could do to serve the other human in the room. Maybe you hear them say something when they're talking. I'll just leave it at that. And then after the meeting, you might introduce yourself. How are you? My name's Rodney, or whatever your name may be. Maybe it's Rodney. Yay, hi Rodney. And you, using your spiritual sense, just talk about that issue. Maybe this person could use some help. Maybe they need a sponsor. Maybe I don't know. Okay, if you're bored or glum, I've read somewhere, maybe perhaps in this book, the 12 by 12, or any of the other respected AA literature, or maybe in a self-help book. In part 1 I said maybe in a Hustler magazine decades ago. I don't know where I read this. Maybe I didn't read it and I'm just remembering it wrong. But the principle of the thing that I'm about to say kind of still holds. If you're bored or feeling down, through some type of action you are able to take safely, do something that might serve somebody else other than your own ego and that judge up here telling you that you're depressed or in pain or lonely or bored. That voice, you need to get away from that voice for a bit, and by doing some service work, helping somebody else, in particular at like an AA club setting. Like I said before, you might be within proximity of the club, traveling to or from the door, entering the building or exiting the building. That's where a lot of fellowship can happen, because the Clean Indoor Air Act of 1995, I think, people, humans, dogs, whatever, dogs I don't think, seeing-eye dogs are allowed in a lot of AA clubs, so they're allowed, but there aren't a lot of smoking dogs. There's way more, the chances of a smoking human are greater. I used to go to this club. The smoke was so thick in there. I used to be a smoker. I didn't even have to light up to have a smoke because everybody else was lit up and smoking. And that, boy, the Clean Indoor Air Act of 1995 in the United States took care of a lot of that, because smoking indoors and within a 25-foot proximity of the entrance and blah, blah, all that crap, not allowed. Why'd I say all that? Oh, the fellowship happens because now the people that smoke will go outside of the building to smoke. And then these people get together and they're talking. Hopefully maybe about AA stuff. See, now the battery's going to cut me off. This is taking everything out of my brain. Or that last little example took everything. Here, caffeine will fix that, right? And then the battery will die, and then that'll be it. So this circle, the three legacies: unity, service, spirituality through recovery from alcoholism, encompassed in love. Love encompasses these several things inside. These three things: unity, service, spirituality. If that's enveloped by love or put forth towards you in a loving manner, or if you put it out towards somebody else in a loving manner. I've got a thing here. I hope I can find it. It says broadcast love. The more you can remember to do that, the better you're going to feel, probably. And that's where part one, take time to pray. I set this down on the table like that, and it shut off the camera. Take time to pray and meditate. Talk to God. Ask Him questions, and then be still and listen for the result, the answer back from God, the solution very likely. And then go through life broadcasting love as much as you can. It might be once a year on Christmas, if even that. And then you can just kind of build on that. Maybe twice a year. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, a sibling's birthday, broadcast love. That kind of, and then work it up to maybe one person within the AA club. You could have a sense of brotherly love, that eighth principle towards this person, understanding their struggles, and you're trying to help them over that struggle or that challenge until they're successful and victorious, because it can be done through unity, that first tradition, right? So all this stuff is really important. I've been at it for a while. It gets all jumbled up. Caffeine doesn't really help. That's only half calf. Anyways, man, thank you for coming by here. I'll get back with you later. And have a nice day. Try to have a nice day. It's up to you. Think about that. You can choose to have a nice day. You can choose not to drink alcohol today also. Might be tough. You might need meds because of the withdrawal stuff, tremors and delirium tremors, whatnot. Anyhow, hey, goodbye. Thank you.